right now as you sit there?
Yeah, I am the champion. I out-jabbed him, I out-struck him, I out-wrestled him. I did everything to win the fight, except for those two judges that didn't give it to me. I didn't prove it to them. That won't happen again. I'm going to come back stronger, I'm going to come back faster, and I'm going to bust my butt to get that belt. You know, it sucks that right now the belt's not sitting right here, but it is what it is. You know, like I said, I'm gonna come back. That's nothing. You know, little milestone. I just beat the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. You know what I mean? Like, like, look at him and look at me. You know what I mean? My hands are busted up from hitting him in the face. You know, and the belt's not here. It sucks. But I promise you, that belt will be mine.
Are you angry at all by, you know, what George said in the ring? I mean, whether he's taking a vacation or a retirement or whatever you want to call that, does that bother you that, you know, you can't plan for an immediate rematch?
Dude, I don't care about George. That's what I said from the very get-go. I beat him anyways, okay? I just want the belt. That's all I want, that UFC belt right here in front of me. That's the only thing that's pushing me. That's the only thing that's motivating me. I don't care about who has it, who doesn't. I need to get that, and that's really my drive. And I thought I got it tonight, but I guess I didn't. You know, that was my first 5-round fight. I thought I did excellent, but there's a lot of things I can pull from this fight. You know what I mean? I'm only going to get better. That was my first 5-round fight, and I took it to the champ. And it didn't go my way to the judges, but guess what? I'm going to come back. This happened to me before, and I'm going to be better, and that belt will be around my waist.
And last question for you. When you hit him with the big shot, the big left hand, you had him hurt there. You know, was that your good stuff, and did you feel like, you know, you were on the verge of finishing at that point?
No, I really didn't hit him that hard. The reason why, I wasn't really trying to knock him out. I knew it was going to be my first 5-round fight, so I was putting about 70% on him. You know, it was enough. You know, 70% of my power was enough.
It wasn't enough because you left it in the hands of the judges. It wasn't enough. You better do 100% next
time. Yes. Thank you, Dana. Ouch. But you know what? Here's the thing: is that I knew that was my first 5-round fight. Everybody's questioning, is my cardio going to be enough, right? So I went out strong, and I thought I did everything I could to win. You know, 70%, I was rocking him, I was hurting him, I was doing it. And there were some shots that I did throw a little bit harder that were hitting his gloves. He was doing great defense, taking nothing away from George St-Pierre. He did an excellent job, just not tonight, you know. But you know what, here's the thing. If I get to see him in the ring again, it won't go to the distance. I will finish him, and you know, I know I can go 5 rounds now. I proved that tonight, and you know, it sucks. You know, the judges sort of ripped my heart out tonight, and I'm gonna move forward. I'll get stronger.
Johnny, question over here. It was the first round. Looking at the judges' scorecards, that's the difference. 2 judges scored the first round for George, 1 scored it for you. So I'll ask you, what do you remember about the first round, and how do you feel like they scored? How do you figure they scored that round for George in any way?
Well, the first round, he came out. He tried to establish a jab, which wasn't working. He was trying to throw a couple of kicks. I checked everything. He did get the takedown, and he did try to do the guillotine on me at first. None of that was close, but at the end of the first round, I ended up getting a takedown myself. And I thought I controlled the fight from there on. You know, after the first 2 minutes, I thought it was all mine. And, you know, it sucks that you train so hard and you do stuff so, you know, I don't know how much better I could have fought that fight. Does that make sense? I went out there, I did my game plan, I out-jabbed him, I outdid everything, and the refs sort of, you know, you got to beat the champ, and I thought I did. And that's sort of the end of the story, you know. I will, like I said, I'll be back. You know, this is just a little mild stepping stone for me. I'm only 30 years old. I'm still young at this sport. I've been doing it for 6.5 years. You know, I'm still developing striking skills that I'm learning daily. So I'll be better.
And we're dealing with a lot of unknowns right now because George made this, obviously the weird statement about taking some time away or whatever. I don't know if he's going to Tahiti or what's going on, but in your mind, I know you want the title, so are you willing to do interim title? What do you hope is next for you?
Yeah, it's up to Dana White. Of course I want the title. You know what I mean? Of course. But it's up to this guy and Lorenzo and Fatita. My job is to fight and put on good shows. And hopefully I did that for you guys tonight. My main goal is to win the belt, but also make the fans happy with my performance. And the crowd was into the fight. And that's sort of how I fight every fight. If the crowd's not ready for it and into my fights, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.